Good afternoon, folks. Now we're taking a look at some news from Cyberpunk 2077, where we're learning that we can't attack children or story NPCs. Now, attacking children in a RPG is kind of controversial. It's not a big deal. I don't think anyone really cares so much about it. Of course, in the Fallout franchise, you can do it since Fallout 1 and 2. And you can even earn a perk called Child Killer. And that was great, because it's an isometric game. It was back in the day in the 90s, and things were fine. Now, with it gaining popularity with Fallout 3, we had an entire city or village, I guess you can call it, run by children, and you could not kill them. Now, there were mods that came out allowing you to do so, and one of the characters was MacCready, who was the mayor of a town, and he was all grown up in Fallout 4, which was ironic, since it never clued in on me until I put two and two together at the time. There he is. So you couldn't kill this guy in Fallout 3. So what this means is that there's not going to be any, suffrages. There's not going to be any children's towns or sections of the city, because you just can't hurt them. You can't kill them. You can't interact with them violently. Now, if you're talking about the cyberpunk genre, there are very few depictions of children in the stories because they're not too relevant. It's mostly an adult world, but they are present in some cases. For example, I can remember the Laughing Man, or Blue, in Ghost in the Shell. So he's not really a child, he's more like a young adult. And he's mostly cybernetic anyway. I think most characters in Ghost in the Shell standalone complex are cybernetic anyway. Then there's the Neuromancer story by William Gibson, and there's a character called Jane, or 3 Jane, or 8 Jean, and that's pretty much an avatar, so it's not technically a person. They're just they have these robotic bodies, and there's a ghost living in them, or a mind living in them. So that limits the storytelling potential, especially in a world where you're blowing away guys that have half a face or whatever. It's really a safe thing that CDProjektRED is doing, and considering the amount of violence we've seen already, it wouldn't really bother anyone, I don't think, at least from the 48-minute gameplay demo that some people might have problems with. And there's all sorts of wonderful imagery they could have done with children being these immortal ghosts in these cybernetic bodies, sort of an Alice in Wonderland motif. That would have been pretty cool. I would have loved to have seen all kinds of wizard-level hackers as children, or what have you. That would have been neat, but they're going to play it safe, and that's fine. And it's the same deal with the NPCs. That's just a scripting thing. Again, this is not Fallout. Fallout has an open-world concept. This is not an open-world style city. There's going to be a plot line that flows through things, and those main characters can't be killed for obvious reasons. You also wouldn't be able to progress the story. So it does limit the story. It just makes it less interesting. It's not a big blow to the story or narrative, but it does sort of limit the things you can do. That means there's never going to be any children involved in cutscenes that are relevant. Like if you do something bad, they won't report on you because then you won't be able to stop them. They're immortal. So things like that aren't going to be present, which is kind of sad. Just from a creative standpoint. It's obviously not going to affect the game too much, but just the limitations on gameplay and storytelling. So, sci-fi RPG will offer many ways to cause mayhem in Night City, so fans are unlikely to be upset over this. They have confirmed that there will be several weapon types, such as mantis blades, katanas, and honing bullets that lock onto their targets. Cool. Anyone is allowed to own a gun in Night City, so if players do decide to act aggressively towards some characters, there could be repercussions, of course. So the idea of it modding is always a thing, because people will want to definitely do this. They will want to be able to shoot everything in the game, as a FPS should allow you to do so. Unfortunately, there's no modding support at launch. I'm sure that will change rather quickly, as this becomes one of the most popular games of the year. So, kind of sad, not a big deal, but definitely a limitation on gameplay and storytelling. Hopefully not gameplay as the mods come in, but definitely on the story going forward. So Anyway, that's all. Thanks for listening.